And those positions were important before computers came along, before machinery was much more advanced. Now it is, they have no place for those things. It's like with coal mining, you know, they have no place for that anymore in this society. So all of those places, all of those positions have been made redundant. So you've got generations of people within England, even white people, generations of white people in England, absolutely redundant, being put right out of the society.
A fallen society. A society in free fall. The Honourable Elijah Muhammad said the bank was the hearts of the people. The hearts of the people, yeah? And when we talk about the heart of the people, we're not necessarily talking about that organ that pumps, although that is a heart. We're talking about the soul. You know, they say the heart and the soul. The soul which is at the heart of our being. That is the bank of the people, you know? Because you can't feel with your physical heart, but you can feel with your soul.
What that is, that's an opportunity to exercise that sensitivity or that feeling, you know, for giving to ourselves, because the more we give is the more that we're being softened, and our hearts are being softened for our own purpose, our own nature, our own people. Because it's a practical exercise. It's like giving in charity.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's cool.
The more we
Go
give
ahead. Go ahead, sister.
The more we give in charities, the more our hearts and our breast is expanded for doing good.
Yeah.
And Allah said in the Quran, He said that He expands. He chooses who He wants, and He expands their breasts for Islam. He expands their breasts for obedience. That's right. He expands us for growth and development. He expands us to be able to carry more, to shoulder more, to do more, to be more productive for our own people. But that fear has to be removed from us in order for us to see the need for us to want to build for ourselves.
And we have to stop killing our own soul. You know, we have a music, we call it soul. But that music that we call soul has been corrupted, and it has been used to corrupt us. Real soul music is spiritual. When you hear the Holy Quran recited, it's like music.
I'm thinking about corruption, you know, and there was an item in the news yesterday in China where babies' formula had been poisoned, contaminated, and babies are dying. A lot of them are sick and dying. And it just reminds me how fragile, how sensitive we are, and how fragile our condition is until we start changing, until we start coming away from some of these things. We've been taught within Islam, and it's in the Quran, corruption has appeared on the land and sea on account of what man's hands have wrought. The more that we go around poisoning things, and the more poison that's being spread, is the more that it affects us. However, that corruption that we're suffering and that we're going through is to make us turn from what we're doing.
Yes.
Once I see the poison, I can identify it, move away from it, move away from that soul music, stop listening to it in the mornings, and then that will stop orientating my day around sexual intercourse.
Yes.
You know, do you hear what I'm saying? Stop filling myself with poison, and then I can think straight, or I can think a bit straighter in order for me to act straighter.
You're talking about the baby formula. We were talking about boobs at the beginning, how the world describes the female breasts as boobs, and giving a baby formula is a boob when what is right for the baby is in the breast. Yeah. But they tear us away from our natural building society and that which Allah has deposited for us to give us something else, just like the soul music. It has been contaminated. The milk has been contaminated. Our formula as babies in this is been contaminated. So once you contaminate the baby's formula, the baby cannot develop into God.
Yeah. There are many different reasons why women can't breastfeed. However, the options are taken away and they're not encouraged, because there's always the expressing milk, you know, in order for the baby to have the breast milk, even if you can't feed the baby yourself. Well, there's more than one way, but we're only given one way. You either breastfeed or you don't, you know, when there's other ways in between. You know, some women talk about topping up, and yet the breast makes enough milk, you know, for the baby. All you need to do is just keep on feeding and the breast will make enough milk for the baby. But again, it's about knowledge of self, understanding who we are, getting rid of that fear, because they make us feel insecure and fearful, you know, when within the hospitals or within the midwife field. Sometimes they make us feel insecure that we don't have enough milk, or I'm not doing it right, or what have you. But it's about us learning from one another again, you know, taking the time to learn from one another and balancing ourselves.
A failure to bank is a failure to have on tap the resources necessary to build and to complete that building. A failure to bank is a failure to secure the future for our next generation. We won't record our history, so we fail to bank. You know, we don't record things. We fail to do it for whatever reason, you know. We don't pass on our family skills or share our aims and our aspirations, so we fail to bank. We do not educate our own children, so we fail to bank. We don't build businesses or support them, so we fail to bank. We are far too busy skanking on the banking, brothers and sisters.
All of this is investment, isn't it? All of it is investment. We home educate the boys, brothers and sisters, so I'm always looking for more information, and the Nation of Islam is excellent in terms of education. And there's one of the sayings is that education is the first defence of a nation. Ignorance is Iblis. It's on the kitchen wall, brother Chris. It's on our kitchen wall, brothers and
really?
sisters. It's on our kitchen wall. But education is the first defence of a nation, because once someone knows who they are and they know what they're doing and they know what their agenda is, then you can't pull anything over on that person. You can't stop them from working towards what they're supposed to be doing. And as we were just thinking, I was thinking about the breastfeeding, and I was thinking about the corruption of the breast milk. And then it reminded me of something that I read in the Quran. Allah said in the Quran, he said, if you can't feed your baby, or if you can't breastfeed your baby, or if you don't want to, for whatever reason, he said, there's no blame on you if you employ a wet nurse.
Yes.
And so I was like, ooh. And then there was an item on the TV where they were talking about, would you allow someone else to breastfeed your baby for you? And that's a really sensitive subject, because a lot of women will say, no, I'm not allowing someone else to breastfeed my baby. But then we allow the cow to feed our baby.
That's right.
So then how do we...
goat.
Yeah.
We don't even know if it's cow.
Yeah, that's right.
They told us it was cow.
Yeah. And you know, there's a whole load of controversy about milk. So then how far do we go in terms of making an investment? Is it a better investment for me to invest in a wet nurse in order for my baby to get breast milk, which is given with love? Or, let me ask the question.
Of course it's better.
Or is it a better investment for me to allow my child to be given some kind of formula? We don't know what the formula is.
That's right.
But
even the word formula don't sound right.
Is some kind of formula in order for them to, for me, not to feel that kind of jealousy or envy or enmity or rivalry with another female.
See, well, that's something that the sisters have to grow and develop into. You know, that's what sisterhood is for. If you can choose a wet nurse, that has got to be better than choosing something from the shop where you don't know where it came from. You don't know what's in the bottle. You don't know what the bottle's leaching into it, even if the formula inside was safe. So it's got to be better. It gives the choice. It puts the power of choice back in your hands. Who's